Hello again. Oh, we are having fun today. I just dropped my granddaughter off at school. That's the other new thing. She's going to school. Yeah, that's a whole thing of its own. So she's in preschool. Nana gets to do drop-offs. Papa gets to do pickups. And between the four grandparents, we trade on babysitting. Well, I should say my husband babysits because I'm working. But he works at night, so it's not a big deal. By the time she gets out of school, he's getting up anyway. So, yeah, I am so proud of myself. I have been taking her every day for months now. Considering I don't like people, much less walking germ factories, not to be mean. So, every day is a growth opportunity, and I wanted to be able to do things with her, and I'm not going to let anything stand in my way. So, her and I have Nana time every morning. I pick her up. We go to school. They have a little ritual they have to do. That, when you first get there, they have to put away their stuff, wash their hands, all the things that they should be learning to do, because safety first. And she's doing amazing. I am so pleased to see how she is. Some of those kids don't take it well, and it's been going on for months now, so some kids take a little longer to acclimate to that whole being away from the parent or the caregiver thing, and that's kind of sad, because I hate to see them crying when I leave, even though they're not mine. That whole mom Nana thing kicks in and you feel horrible that they're crying. But luckily my granddaughter is a comforter, so she goes over there and she holds their hand and she says, "Don't worry, we're going to have a good day today. Today's going to be a good day." And then she tells them what's for breakfast that day, to try to get them amped up, because that's her thing. But she's not too thrilled with the food options. The way they do things now are different than when they did them when my kids were in school. You pack a lunch, or you bought a lunch if you didn't bring a lunch, or if you were on free lunch, you got whatever lunch, whatever. But now, because there are so many food allergies and things that they worry about, and this particular school wants children to try new things, so they don't force anything on them. So my granddaughter is not, she'll eat fish with my husband, but if you give her a fish sandwich, she'll hand it right back to you and say no thank you. But they ask them to try a bite. They only have to try a bite. If they don't like it, they don't like it. So it exposes them to new foods. My granddaughter's got an extremely broadened palate for a 5-year-old, because my daughter eats a lot of, I don't know that I'd say exotic food, because I don't think Korean or anything like that is super exotic. But, I don't know many 5-year-olds that eat kimchi, other than, if their nationality is of that origin where that's an everyday staple for them. But she likes kimchi, and she likes some of the things that I personally would turn my nose up at. But she is like the little lunch lady. She makes me laugh. She tells me what's on the calendar for that day, and that she's gonna eat it. And they watched, I think it's called the Lorax last week instead of Quiet Time. So now I know everything I need to know about the Lorax. That was fun. It's been good. It was a little bumpety at the start, because the week she started, we were fine, and then we both got sick. We caught something, and I ended up in the hospital. Not admitted, but like at the hospital, because we had to get checked for COVID and RSV and something else. COVID, RSV, flu A and B. And luckily everything was negative. So, little victories, right? Take your little victories. It was just some really shitty virus going around. Mine only lasted about a week. Hers hung around till the beginning of October, which really sucked. Because, being a little kid and hacking and coughing and all that is not great. And then having to go to school and, it's just not fun. But she's made a lot of new friends, which, were all at that party. That was the highlight of, I'm sure, their social calendar this year. I don't know many toddlers with a huge social calendar, but they enjoyed her party, and she got invited to other kids' parties, which a couple she got to go to, but a couple she didn't, because my daughter travels for her job, so she didn't want her going unless she was going with her. So those parties she didn't get to attend, unfortunately. But what else did we do? We had our house vinyl sided. They did insulation and weather prepping, or whatever that's called. That took forever. That was like a 2-month thing. They did some work on the roof, putting in some new vent thing where your bathroom vent goes out. And they put in, I think they're called air vents under the soffits so that your attic doesn't get musty or whatever. We redid the basement. There's now the playroom, which is my granddaughter's. There's a spare bedroom down there, and there's a seating area which has a sleeper sofa, some recliners, a 60-inch TV or 70-inch, whatever the hell it is, the game systems and all that, so that when she's here, my husband could go down and they can play Astrobot on the PS5 and not be interrupted by uncool Nana. We permanently enclosed our porch. We had a screen porch, and it was great. Loved it because my husband sat out there all summer with the dog. He watched TV, could play his game at night and do all that. But I wanted a place where it was like an extension of my kitchen, because the deck is right off my kitchen. So we enclosed that. That took longer than I anticipated it taking, but they had to rebuild part of the deck because the person who was here before me, their spouse was handicapped and in a wheelchair. So the deck used to literally wrap around the entire side of the house to the driveway, and he would drive his car to the edge of the ramp. He would get out, get in his wheelchair, and then he would go up the ramp and into the kitchen and all that. Then after he passed away, they enclosed it for her so she could sit out there, and she liked sleeping out there in the summer because it was cooler than sleeping in her house. But that was probably 15 years ago. So age and time and wood, and I'm not a carpenter by any means, but it was easier to replace some of it that needed replacing than to start again, because we didn't have to get permits for that part. The only way you have to get permits is if it's a new addition or anything like that. So it already had a roof. It already had all the things. All we did was harden close it because it was already it was like a, I don't know, in Florida they call it like a lanai or a screen porch or whatever, but I'm not in Florida. But it's similar to that, but we wanted it more weatherproofed. So the floor where you have the slats where the, you know, the decking is, it is now still slats, but they put some stuff to seal between the slats that you can take out. In the summer, you just go buy it. I am going to call it a pool noodle, but it's not a pool noodle. But it's resistant to mold, mildew, and stuff like that, where it fits in the cracks, and then they put weather type insulation on the underside of the deck that has, I want to say, they said it normally goes in bathrooms or something like that, so it's for wet areas where you may have moisture and stuff, just to prevent like the squirrels, the birds, or anything from nesting up under my deck. And because my house is a raised ranch, the deck is about 15 feet off the ground. So underneath, where we have the walk-in to the basement, they then put up decorative lattice and privacy and what do you call that? I think it's called privacy screening. It's like people will put it around an in-ground pool so that you can't see them swimming and stuff like that, or for privacy around their yard. So you can't see it because of the color of the lattice, so that it prevents any wind or snow or water from going under there, because I go out and around and go in the downstairs all the time, because I'm not a fan of the cellar stairs. I call them the stairs of death. Like, I think they were made for toddler feet. Like, they are definitely not made for anybody over a size 1 foot. And my husband, with his big old size 11 feet, runs up and down them like an idiot. But, I mean, someday he'll learn the hard way, I guess. So that's all been enclosed. And that's where I put all of my gardening supplies and all of that. Because my husband has his tool room downstairs, and then we have the room where all of the house functional stuff is, like the heating system, the water heater, all that other junk. But it came out nice. What else did we do? Oh, we put new railings on the steps because we had those old iron style. I wasn't a fan of those. They're gross to touch. So I didn't like those. So we got rid of that. And we put up wood. And I'm trying to think of what else we did. 2 light fixtures. I think that was it. But I'm going to end this second one now. I'm going to take the puppy for a walk so that she can relax while I get to work. I will talk to y'all again soon.